What's up, you guys? DHR2, and welcome back to my channel. Earlier this morning, I saw a video by Mr. Weenie Productions, and I would like to do my response to it. This is not any hate or an attack. These are just my opinions and my opinions only. If you feel to disagree with them, let me know, but don't tell me how I feel at the end of the day. Yeah. Um, I saw the video this morning about what Mr. Weenie Productions was talking about Beast Morphers. He has some rants here and there, but a few points that he said that kind of makes sense, and that's how I feel when I first heard about Beast Morphers. So we're going to be talking about the title of this season called Beast Morphers. I can understand, what people were a bit confused by the name Beast Morphers, which I thought it was like a weird name, you know, since cheetah and gorilla are beasts, bunnies are not beasts, but it is what it is, what's done is done, but he did point out some good, stuff saying that, instead of calling the show Beast Morphers, they should call it Power Rangers Grid Battle Forces, which is a great name because it makes sense. It's based on Go Busters. Um, so basically, Grid Battle Force makes so much sense than Beast Morphers. And this is not Judd Land's fault. This is all Saban's fault. Saban was the one that came up with the name. He was the one that changed the uh, Rhino DNA and the Beetle DNA of the Gold and Silver Ranger. Um, and speaking of, what's up, Brandon? And speaking of the DNA of the Gold Ranger and the Silver Ranger, the Gold Ranger kind of looks like a beetle because it has the them little horn things on top of his head, and the Silver Ranger has the rhino because of the horns sticking up his forehead. It makes sense, and I had no idea that he changed the Silver Ranger and the Gold Ranger's DNA, but it would. I mean, it would be so much better if they actually had a good explanation of how Nate got a hold of the DNA of the mantis and the beetle, which I thought it was strange, since Saban pretty much changed, because I think the Gold Ranger is a beetle and the Silver Ranger is a rhinoceros. So, well, I think the Gold Ranger's helmet looks more like a mantis because of the two horns sticking up his head, and the Gold Ranger is a rhinoceros, which didn't make any sense. The Gold Ranger looks like it makes sense, but the Silver Ranger does not. So I can understand what Mr. Weenie Productions was talking about. Um, the long dreaded hiatus, and I personally feel like they need to take Power Rangers off Nickelodeon and put it somewhere else. Like put it on Discovery Family when they run full seasons of great family friendly TV shows that make sense, and it would definitely be a better fit for Power Rangers because let's face it, Power Rangers has never been a great home for Nickelodeon because that company does not know how to run our franchise right with the long hiatus, and that's why we get the terrible era, as the Neo Saban era. So we're not going to be talking about that. I'm not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what Mr. Weenie Productions was talking about Beast Morphers, and why I agree with some of the stuff he's talking about, and why I disagree with some of the stuff he's talking about. So, as far as Devin, Revy, and Zoe, those characters are good. They're great. I mean, yeah. Look, here's the part that I had to disagree with John with. When he was talking about the Gold Rangers debut was kind of rushed. I mean, yes, I understand they could have made us into a two-parter though, but you can't blame Judd Lane for this. You well, I I pretty much blame Saban for everything because when Hasbro basically got the rights to the franchise, you would think that they fixed it, but they didn't. They probably did this whole thing before Saban sold the rights to Power Rangers. Now that you think about it, and don't forget, he's still, you know, the advocate of his baby. So he's gonna make sure that his franchise is going right by Hasbro, and they're doing a good job at it. But it's just certain stuff from Beast Morphers that had its hiccups. You know, uh, Gold from change to the Gold Silver Rangers. DNA from Beetle to a Rhino, and Gold Rangers Beetle because he's a mantis because it kind of makes sense in my opinion because of the two horns sticking up his head, and the Silver Rangers into a Beetle, it does not make sense. Beetles two don't have one horns. So I think the Silver Rangers I have a problem with because number one, his Japanese counterparts has a rhino because of the horns, one horn sticking up his head. I can understand, you know, I can understand, them changing, you know, the Gold Rangers DNA from, it is what it is. So, and and the part where he was talking about how they're gonna need to explain how Jason got his powers back. I read one comment on his video said that Jason, Austin St. John should come back as the Gold Ranger. The Gold Ranger will always have a special place in my heart because when he came back as the Gold Ranger in '96 during the Zeo season, his voice sounded so different, but I kind of prefer ASJ as Jason the original Red Ranger because that was his first role. That was his first powers because he was first over anybody because he led the team even though he made mistakes. He had some guilt of failing as a leader. He kind of had that big brother feel to him as a leader. And it kind of makes sense because Jason as Red Ranger is far better. It's a lot better than him as the Gold Ranger, in my opinion. But that's just how I feel. So you can feel to disagree with me all you want. So I'm sure they're gonna explain how Jason got his Red Ranger powers back because if you guys remember back in season 2 of Mighty Morphin, which was '94, um, Jason transferred his powers to Rocky. But now that you think about it, Jason's powers Jason's Red Ranger powers were never destroyed. His power coin was never destroyed. So in Forever Red, he got his powers back, but they were never destroyed. It was transferred to Rocky, even though Rocky was the worst Red Ranger, but he pretty much made a decent Blue Ranger in Zeo, in my opinion. So yeah. So John, aka Mr. Um Jonathan, aka from Mr. Weenie Productions, if you're watching this, man, I just want to say I love and I respect what you do on your channel and your fan base. But I have to disagree on some of the things you said about the Gold Rangers DNA being changed from you know a beetle. His DNA kind of makes sense because as a mantis because of the two horns sticking up his helmet, which is kind of true by the way. I can understand your frustrations on why Power Rangers on Nickelodeon sucks, and I truly feel like they need to be in a good home for a perfect network where they don't do those dreaded hiatus. So that's basically how I feel, and trust me, this is not an attack on you. This is my opinion. This is some of the things that I disagree with you. Again, I like your work. I appreciate what you do, but this is not an attack. I just disagree with some of the stuff that you say. So, yeah. If you guys enjoy my live stream and my content, hold up before I go. The show was kind of good. I saw it the other day. I missed the old school Power Rangers from the 90s. It was good. The good old days right there. Yeah, they was, but it was not that perfect. Listen, Mighty Morphin season 1 through 3 was not that great. It had its ups and downs when it comes to the casting changing. Um, there were some controversies surrounding the Black and Yellow Rangers, but I do not care about those things as long as Zach and Trini were great role models for kids. I think that the show changed the game. Even though it was their first, the show wasn't that great. It has its awesome moments, some good episodes, some great episodes, but the season wasn't that great. It has 3 seasons based on 3 sagas until the Alien Ranger saga came out, which is skip that season. It's garbage. It's terrible, even though it was still part of season 3. So Mighty Morphin from 93 to 95. Alien Ranger, I mean, Alien Rangers was is 1 year. It was in 96 until April came along and Zeo came out. So there you go. If you guys enjoy my video, be sure to subscribe, comment, follow your boy on social media, and please subscribe to my channel. And let's get some likes for this thumbnail. I mean this video. And love y'all. See you later. Oh, by the way, I think tomorrow I'm gonna do a tutorial of how to draw eyes, male and female eyes. I'm not gonna do an American way. I'm gonna do the manga way, the anime versions. So this is going to be my twist, my take on it. So hopefully I'll see you all. Hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow, and may God continue to bless you all. Peace out.